I'm back out in one of the most beautiful creeks I've seen in the national forest. Clear and clean, an occasional piece of trash, but it's rare. And to bring you up to speed on a lot of things, there were a lot of questions. Anyway, I'm jumping the gun. I haven't ever had a serious case of I'm worried about what I'm going to find before I got in this creek. And those of you who know the video I put out about finding some human remains, you know that this is the creek. I'll start at the end of the story. The last part of the story is when I asked investigators, police, sheriff, and everything if I find any more. I don't even like to say the word pieces, parts, bones. It's just horrible in my head. If I find any more, and that's the way I put it, I think, you can just let it go since you kind of know who it is. And since it's an old story, it's this, it's that. And they clearly told me no. Let us know. And I said, okay. I said, because I'll be back. Because this is what I do. It is one of the nicest creeks I've found just to get out and meander. And they said, okay. So this time, I brought my detector with me because where the campsite was, or where the, I don't know if it would be called a campsite, it's a campsite. Where it was, there's a lot of stuff on the ground, and I think there's still some unanswered questions. So, if I find something of any significance, I will let the authorities know. And leave it at that. I thought I had fully explained the whole story. I keep my head up even more so now. Well, I try to, because I'm so used to staring at the ground looking for stuff. But now I just, in the back of my mind is, who's in the woods? Because this is off the beaten path. And you got to get off the roads and get on dirt to make it happen. This is where I found it. I am not digging here or intentionally digging for bones. It was an established camp spot, and anyway, I got off track again. So for those of you just joining my channel at all, this is a follow-up to the video where I found human remains in the national forest. And found out the story about the whole thing. For those who missed the story and still asked what I thought was questions that I'd already answered, I will run through it again. And my dates may be wrong, and if they are, whoop-de-doo, because that doesn't matter when someone loses their life, and it makes my heart beat faster just being here. Which may seem odd, because I have been to some places that seem to disturb people. Wondering why would I go there? Like abandoned places. It's just hard not to. So, I get back in the creek. So roughly 5 years ago, there was a young couple from Florida. I don't know if it was a salamander or a snake, but there's only 8 ways to find out. The first way is going to be, you like my new orange gloves? Lift this ever so gently. Let's see if it swims out. It did not. We'll press on. It was a young couple, I believe, from Florida. Their relationship status I know nothing about, but I think the news article said that they were simply a young couple enjoying hanging out. I don't think they were married. So they were just out and drove to see Chiha. They saw 2 women who appeared to be broke down and stopped to help. The 2 women took them off in the woods to rob them. The guy had a weapon, which turned into, and of course, I believe one of the girls or women did too. I don't know anybody's ages, other than the young couple, I believe, were in their 20s. So, long story short, after shots were fired, the young man who was trying to defend himself and the young lady he was with lost his life. When that happened, after destroying many people's lives, I'm sorry, I keep scratching my head. I feel like there's something walking up my face. After that happened, of course, everything come unglued for the off-grid, government-hating, what is written in the papers to be a religious cult, was found out about. I got to stop for a minute and figure out what's crawling on my face. I've saturated my person in bug spray. Now I'm regloving. I'm gonna keep walking. I got out of the creek way back there when I first started walking ahead up through the woods there. So the tragedy that happened roughly 5 years ago. I think it was 5 years ago. No, it was about 3 years ago. When that all unfolded, they realized that 3 years or so before that, there was a chief to this religious cult. The chief, the leader, the one who called the shots. A young man from, I believe, Silicaja came up here. And I don't know how it all played out, but it might have taken a little while. He wanted to be the chief. So as the story goes, they went up on a mountain somewhere to talk about it, a hill, and only one of them returned. He took the life of the young man who wanted to, I don't know if he just wanted to talk about being a chief or they really went up there to fight, I don't know. Nor do I know how he passed. The chief that lost his life, the young man who decided to leave and join a cult in the woods, is the one that I found. And it's not an ongoing investigation in the sense that nobody knows what happened. It's an ongoing investigation in the sense that he was buried in a shallow grave, I'm assuming, and that's why I found what I found. So, oh, there's several crawfish. That's a good sign. It's a super clean stream. I would assume if people lived out here, and it was here somewhere in this area, that this is a creek they would have bathed in and played in and everything else. I didn't, like I say, I didn't walk at all because that's the third mason jar I have seen out here. And I used to wonder why people who were wanting to come up here and hike the Pinhoti Trail would have mason jars with them. But that was obviously not people hiking the Pinhoti Trail who had the mason jars. That's the whole story. Everyone is in jail. And 3 families' lives are changed forever due to the losses. Hey, come on, horsefly. I'm saturated. There's a deer shed. Let me give you an example of why I thought what I found in the video about the original video. Why I thought it was simply a shed. There was nothing but this poking out of the ground. Of course, it was a lot smaller. When I say this, I mean this end right here. This is a common deer shed. You know, they shed in the springish. This one has been eaten up by mice or squirrels. Most likely squirrels. But that's about all that was poking out. Those of you who watched the video know, but it wasn't that wide. So I thought, okay, that's the end of a shed that's just been there a long time. And then I poured it out and I looked at it, and you know the rest of the story. Then I realized that was the TMJ area that hooked to the upper portion of the jaw. And at that point, I came semi-unglued emotionally. And that's that story. So now, I want to metal detect where the camp was, because I did find a lot of spent rounds. The fellow that was defending himself had a 9mm, and the girl who was holding the weapon with the other girl to rob them had a .22. The girl was shot 5 times, and the man was shot once, but he was struck in the femoral artery, and there's not much you can do about that when you're way off in the middle of nowhere due to blood loss. Do you see how that frog jumped? They're so cool. They look so long when they're flying through the air. So there's the campsite. I know there are multiple rounds. Well, the reason I came back, there's no record that I'm aware of that this clan had a 9mm, although this is on the internet. That when the sheriff arrived to, to investigate and everything else and check out the clan, cult, whatever you want to call it, that he was greeted by a little boy who came out of a tent who was about 5 years old and was carrying a shotgun. So back to the 9mm story. There are a lot of spent rounds out here, 9mm. I don't remember exactly where they are, but they were so obvious I could see them. So I'm wondering, how are there so many? Well, never mind. I can imagine, but my thoughts are that when the girl went to get help, this is also heartbreaking to me again. I don't know why I'm doing this. Oh. That when the girl went to get help, I wonder if they took the guy's weapon away. There's a double zipper, most likely off the backpack. And I don't know. I don't know why I'm looking around. Maybe I want the closure. You remember before I found it though, in the last video, I found this little wooden spoon. I didn't think anything about it. A ball jar lid. I didn't have any way to carry trash. I still don't today, so I'm going to put it all right there, because if I find anything of any significance other than garbage, the guys that came and did the walk around didn't seem to have any interest in picking up the ammo, the spent casings, unless they came back and got them. They may have done that, because there were several, and after they marked the site and everything else, they left and I left because I'd had enough. And so anyway, let's do the second thing I'm really bad at, and that's metal detecting. I forgot my pinpointer, and I'm not walking all the way back out there to get it. And anything I find, I will leave really close to where I found it. I got a solid 60 right there. Semi-shallow. 2 inches. Could be a nickel or bottle cap or something else. Now it's 58. More like a bottle cap or a 9mm. In which case, it will go on the foot of that tree along with every other one. That's a good, clean, clear signal. There it is. There's another 9mm. The 9mm was right there. It's by that tree. And if I'm asked to show anything or share anything, then I'll just say all you do is have a detector go at the base of every tree. This is a 62. Again, I didn't bring my detector. There's another 9mm. I thought it was another round, but it appears to be just something left over from the camp. So we'll press on. It's about to storm. This is most likely going to be another round. You don't realize how wonderful a pinpointer is until you don't have one. This is not the time to be using my dig a hole next to it. I believe that's number 4. This whole area is covered with signals. Same. Most likely going to be shell casings. That is polo underwear. 50s. I'm kind of not wanting to dig any more rounds. That's a unique looking little whippersnapper in it. Don't know if it would sting, but almost every bug can bite. Even though it may not hurt. This is a 54. This has greater potential for being nickel, although I heard what I thought was metal when it's actually just a rock, I think. These plastic gloves are like I say, I don't know what was recovered. That is a big, oh, it's a bumblebee tuna. That is a hole straight into the ground. I mean, absolutely perfectly straight. But the signal seems to be residing right here, or in this area. That is a head stamp. I do like head stamps. You take it to the threshing tree and you brush it off. I can't see it. This is not one of the better. It might work right here. That is a crazy old head stamp with a star around the center. So it is, oh, it's been so long. Y'all remember UMC, probably, even though the shell could be late 1800s, early 1900s, it doesn't mean that it wasn't sitting in someone's ammo drawer and used in 1960. Nonetheless, I will keep that because it has nothing to do with what I do. Now the crazy hole that goes straight into the ground and is really deep, it turns, is kind of odd. There's a 53 right next to it. The head stamp. The head stamp is in my pocket. My guess is this is another one. I know this is a little boring. I'm really doing more thinking than I am looking or talking, I know, but maybe it's a head stamp that's a little easier to identify. I think my mosquito spray is working. I hear them. I hear them in my ears, but I'm not experiencing them yet. There it is, another head stamp. So maybe this one, I just want to empty it before we try to read it. Let's clean it up. That one is easier to read. I'm going to stop, take a photograph. I got it. It is a maybe it was my own phone, but I just got a reflection when I was standing here. It looked like somebody flashing a mirror at me, and the sun is up there. So now I'm 3 creeps into the wind, and I want to show you this. UMC number 12. UMC Company, that's Union Metallic Cartridge Company, number 12, 12 gauge, new club. This is definitely a late 1800s head stamp, if you can see it. Pretty cool. It's been a long time since I found one. Late 1800s head stamp right there. Over 100 years later, it's a 9mm right next to it. And again, if you missed the whole point of the beginning, any round I found that might have something to do with what happened out here, I'm throwing it at the base of a tree right here in the camp so they can easily be recovered. The thunder's getting thick. I've got a pretty good walk back, but I got a bunch of signals right here. I don't know how many rounds a 9mm holds. Aren't there like 10 round clips? I've put 5 to the side. I think 5. This makes 8. And I'm pretty confident I saw more than 5 just laying when the investigators and I walked through here. So I don't know, it's just horrible to even think about why. I want to show you why I'm not going to dig 60s anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a 6, 7, 8. So we're doggone near 20. And I know a camera pointed at the bottom of a metal detector. That's another 60, 61. So what I may do is metal detector creek back and then get out of here. If you had a camp here, I would assume if I lived here, this is where I would spend some time. Yeah, just the horrible part of anything like that against the government, activist, religious cult, is I wonder how many people were actually scared about their future or their plans. That looked like a turtle in them for a minute, but it wasn't. I don't know. I was involved in a cult once, but it was a Christian cult, but it was a just someone who wanted too much power and too much control in controlling what the, I'll just go ahead and tell you, controlling what the women wore, treating children like animals. You know, first it started off as me wanting to learn, and then it turned into something I thought, okay, my family will not be a part of this. Needless to say, long story short, the entire cult fell apart. Multiple families have come unglued since then, and that's the way it goes. I walked downstream, so I muddied it up. I've got a 72 to 75. Pretty deep right here. It could get lower as I dig, or it could get higher. The hopes are it gets higher, and it has nothing to do with this event. But that it's simply a drop coin or something from a crazy long time ago. I can't even keep my senses when I bend over and look around. Okay. Just my problem, right? Okay, where did I throw it? That's not it. That's a iron signal. But a pretty solid, sincere iron signal. Oh man, I felt like the handle to something I didn't want to pull out of there. And it could just be a piece of a can or a barrel. See how deep it is now. I'm right on it. I mean, I'm right above it. Now it's reading higher. It is a library, a modern library. Okay, let's check it again. That could be anybody's. But I'm not going to take a chance. I'm going to put it by this tree there because I don't want anything on me or in my home that had anything to do with this tragedy. So I'm still walking downstream. I've heard a few signals, but they're iron. And little pockets like this is what hold coins. If you ever get under an old bridge or where I just about crashed and made danger to the person. Safe. I just saw this. I did not metal detect it. That is a chess piece. I'm thinking, right? It's disturbing to think that further upstream where the camp was, is these people were sitting around playing chess. This will go in here. I'll remember. I'm leaving and just going to follow the creek out. I forgot how to get this camera set so you can see what I see and without me falling down. It's a horrible story all around. So I'm done. So we found a bunch of stuff. If you watch the video, you know. If anything else shows up, I'll go back on. If you're really even more confused now, you can go back and watch the first one. And maybe we'll add a little clarity to what, or Google some stuff. It's out there. So I'm done. Thanks for watching my videos.